वेबिनार ऑन स्टडी इन यूएसए एंड कनाडा विद इसका नाम चेंज कर दो, नहीं होगा।
देख रहा हूँ मैं, चेंज कर रहा हूँ। कहाँ आएगा बताइए, सेटिंग
सेटिंग
कहाँ?
में।
हेलो रशिद, आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
जी जी आ रही है।
साफ बिल्कुल?
हाँ एकदम साफ आ रही है।
ठीक ठीक, परफेक्ट। और इसके अलावा एक चीज और मैं ट्राई कर रहा हूँ, बताना स्क्रीन मेरी शेयर सही से हो रही कि नहीं। ठीक है?
जी जी
वो कहाँ है यार, रेटिंग सेटिंग कहाँ है?
देखो, ठीक है ना
जी जी हाँ आ रही
स्क्रीन?
है।
ओके ओके, ठीक है।
अरे हटे मुझे बैठने दो, बोलेंगे।
मैं
कहाँ
ढूंढ
है
रहा हूँ।
रेटिंग?
अभी कोई ज्वाइन नहीं हुआ, आप अपना नमाज कंटिन्यू करिए, पब्लिक आएगी तो मैं आपको बुला लूंगा।
ठीक है।
मैं ढूंढ भी रहा हूँ।
हाँ, अभी तो 10 मिनट बाकी है, 5-7 मिनट।
5 मिनट है।
हाँ बेसिकली, हाँ 10:55 हो गया, एग्जैक्टली 5 मिनट।
हम्म
ना वो पब्लिक आते आते तो 10-15 मिनट एक्स्ट्रा खींच जाता है।
हम्म।
तो बेसिकली पता है क्या करना है राशिद? शॉर्ट रख, बहुत ज्यादा मैं लॉन्ग नहीं रखूंगा, शॉर्ट ही रखूंगा इसे, ठीक है?
हाँ हाँ, पब्लिक फिर भागने लगती है।
हाँ, और सबसे बड़ी चीज ये है, क्वेश्चन आंसर ज्यादा कोशिश करूंगा हूँ।
हाँ ये सही है, उससे
हम्म,
सही रहता है।
हम्म, देखते हैं बाकी, होपफुली सही हो। ज्यादा बोलना बोलना तो मैं आता नहीं है।
सही है, बीच बीच में पूछते रहिएगा कौन यहाँ अप्लाई कर रहा है, किसका किसका एसओपी तैयार है, इस तरह कर करके पूछिएगा, कितनों ने जीआरई दे दिया, इस तरह पूछते रहिएगा।
नहीं, मैं सोच रहा हूँ क्वेश्चन बिल्कुल लास्ट में रखूँ, असल में एक बार शुरू हो जाऊँ क्वेश्चन डालना तो फिर बहुत पूरा डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो जाता है सेशन। पहले मैं बेसिक, असल में क्या है ना, ये जो हमने रखा है 2 पार्ट में है बेसिकली, तो ये वाले में
अच्छा
इन डेप्थ बात नहीं है। जैसे सीन ने
अच्छा
जैसे कहा कि आप सिर्फ ओवरव्यू देना पूरे चीज का।
अच्छा अच्छा।
ठीक है? तो जब ओवरव्यू हो जाएगा उसके बाद जब लास्ट जब करेंगे, 10 से 11 स्लाइड है सर मेरे पास,
अच्छा
देन उसके बाद हम करेंगे। अच्छा, एक बार बताओ,
जी सर।
कुछ टिप्स इसमें बताओ, क्या क्या लूँ मैंने टिप्स इसमें सही में आया कुछ खास बताऊँ?
मैं तो आज तक कभी वेबिनार ही नहीं दिया, मुझे क्या
मैंने
पता।
देखो 3-4 लिखे हैं कि डोंट रन फॉर क्वांटिटी, गो फॉर क्वालिटी, हैव पेशेंस, और एक्सप्लोर एज मच एज यू कैन, लाइक नो वन कैन सेल योर बोट अनलेस यू मेक योर ओन एफर्ट्स। ठीक?
जी
एंड नेवर अंडरएस्टिमेट योरसेल्फ, एंड एक चीज लिखी, रैंकिंग इज नॉट एवरीथिंग, और कांस्टेंट एफर्ट्स एंड डू एंड हेल्प ईच अदर। आई थिंक इससे तो मुझे नहीं लग रहा
हम्म।
इनिशियल
हाँ नहीं
3।
नहीं सही है।
अच्छा हाँ, अगर यूएस का वीजा फीस आइडिया है तुम्हें कितनी होती है?
वीजा का?
हाँ यूएस के।
ना ना।
अच्छा, मेरे हिसाब से 30K होती है, जहाँ तक मुझे पता है, तो मैंने लिख दिया अप्रोक्स।
कोई नहीं।
कोई आया नहीं अब तक काजी भाई।
क्या चीज? स्क्रीन?
कोई आया नहीं अब तक, नहीं कोई ज्वाइन नहीं हुआ अब तक, 2 ही लोग हैं।
अच्छा, वेटिंग रूम में 4 दिखा रहा है मुझे।
तो उन लोग को अलाउ कर दीजिए।
एडमिट कर दूं?
हाँ कर दीजिए।
आ गया लोग।
2 लोग हैं अभी वेटिंग में। को होस्ट बनाया है किसको? होस्ट, मुझे को होस्ट बना दीजिए।
अच्छा, मैं तुम्हें होस्ट बना दे रहा हूँ, को होस्ट बना दूं?
को होस्ट होस्ट तो आप रहेंगे, फिर स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं कर पाएंगे अगर आप मुझे को होस्ट बनाइए। सर्चिंग।
बैकग्राउंड चेंज कर लो, ब्लर कर लो। एक मिनट रुक जा। आगे 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 वेट, राशिद वेट। क्या बात भाई। Assalamu alaikum everyone. I think almost everyone has joined and we are waiting from 3 minutes for everyone. So I think we should start now. So first of all, welcome to all of you to join this webinar. This webinar is on the study in the United States or in Canada with scholarships. So we will have some brief outline of the webinar, which we will discuss later. And one more thing I want to ask from you people that are you getting my voice clearly? If not, then if you are getting my voice clearly, then open your camera, open your speak mic, and then say that we are getting at least 2 to 3 people can do this. Then we are confirmed that you are getting my voice clearly.
Hello, Asad. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Check my WhatsApp. Okay, I'm sending it.
And one more thing I want to let you know, people, that the mode of communication is both mixed, like in English and Hindi. So if you are getting any if you have any questions, you can ask in between the presentation, and you can just comment in the comment section. Okay, and don't ask in between. And you can ask the questions in the end of the, like if the question is not related to the webinar, I mean that event, I mean the topic which is being discussed. So ask the question in the last time that we have scheduled Q&A sessions. So first I would like to introduce myself, that I am Muhammad Asad Ahmed, and I am doing masters from National Taiwan University of Science and Technology, Taiwan. And we have a very good speaker from Canada, Qazi Sabihul Mateen. Is everyone, I think maybe some of you people know, and I don't know about others, those who don't know. So just I would like to invite Qazi Bhai to give a brief outline and a detailed discussion on the how to prepare and how to plan our strategy. Welcome, Qazi Bhai.
Hello, can you hear me all?
Yes.
Okay, assalamu alaikum everyone.
Walaikum salam.
Thanks Asad for inviting me for this webinar. As you already said, I'm a good speaker, but to be honest, I'm really not a good speaker. Yeah, I can share my knowledge with you guys. And before starting, let me introduce myself. Basically, right now I'm in Canada and I'm doing master degree in structural engineering from University of Windsor. And before that, I did my Bachelor of Engineering in Civil Engineering from Aligarh Muslim University in 2019. And after that, like I have joined this university last semester in May 2021. So I think I'm very grateful to be here to share my experiences and knowledge with you guys. So before starting, first of all, I would like to thank Sirin Bhai for this great initiative. And I believe it won't be possible without this group and the constant efforts made by all the members of this group. Basically, you all are doing a great job, including myself actually. So, well, without wasting much time, I would like to begin this session. And this is the part one of this our webinar series. And this will cover the basic of this abroad studies in US and Canada. And the part two will be done by Sirin Bhai, and he will go in depth for each steps. And we are basically targeting the students who are currently in final year of their studies, like in final year of his undergraduate BTech or BSc, and aiming for next fall intake, that is August or September 2022. And the last thing, I want to make this session more interactive. I will keep my discussion very short and will give you enough time to ask your question. You may ask anything, whatever you think. You don't hesitate to put up your questions. Okay, so let's begin the session. I'm sharing my screen right now. Can you can you see the screen? Hello.
Yes, your screen is okay. We can.
Okay.
You're getting it.
Okay. Okay. Is it? Can you see the slides?
Yeah, the slide is changing. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, that's perfect. So basically, I've introduced whatever the this webinar is all about. So I'm just going to the test sections, like what are the important tests that we need to uh, take before starting this I mean, what this preparation for MS in US or MS in Canada, whatever it is. So basically, these are three tests. That is, first one is our GRE, second is TOEFL, and third one is IELTS. So you guys must have heard about GRE. Uh, uh, wait a second. Yeah, you guys must have heard about GRE. It's a graduate record examination. Basically, in USA or Canada, basically specifically in USA, most of the graduate school require GRE for admissions, and some of the Canadian university also ask for GRE, like University of Toronto, McGill University, University of British Columbia. So I will not go into deep about GRE right now. Basically, it has three sections. The first one is your verbal listening section. The second one is your quantitative reasoning section, and third is AWA, which is called as analytical writing assessment. So basically, each section is of 130 marks, and like verbal listening of 130, quantity is of 130, and AWA is of 6 marks, which is checked separately. The overall score of GRE is between 260 to 340. Actually, 130 per section is like 130 plus 130 is 260. So the minimum range starts from 260, and it will go up to 340 marks. And in each section, be it verbal or be it quants, every section has basically 20 questions, and you may get an additional experimental section, either verbal section or quants part, uh, which is basically not checked, but you won't know which one is your experimental section. It may be in your verbal part or it may be in your quants part. uh, Now the ideal score, I will talk about the ideal score which is required in specifically in US admissions. So I would say, like, if you score at least 116 points, you are good to go in any US university. Yeah, however, I'm not saying you will get funding at this score. You may have chances of funding, but at least you will get admission. And wait, sorry. The test duration is about 3 hours and 45 minutes with a 10-minute break in between. And the exam fees is around 14,000, which is, I know, so much for most of us. I will not talk much about GRE right now. Now let's come to TOEFL or IELTS. Basically, be it TOEFL or IELTS, TOEFL is test of English as a foreign language, and IELTS is International English Language Testing System. Actually, both are accepted everywhere. These are must-have mandatory requirement for graduate admission, be it master degree or PhD degree. You have to appear in both of these tests. Like, I mean, one of these tests. It's your choice. You can take TOEFL, you can take IELTS. Both of these sections have four sections. Both of these tests have actually 4 sections. That is speaking, listening, writing, and reading. If I talk about TOEFL, every section is of 30 marks. Like speaking is of 30, listening of 30, and so on. Writing and reading part is of 30 marks, and it is totally of 120 marks basically. And I would say the ideal score in TOEFL is minimum 80 to get admission in any university. Like 79 or 80, you will get admission. But for scholarship or teaching assistantship, or maybe you can say graduate assistantship, you need at least 90, 95, at least 90 plus marks. Similarly, if I talk about IELTS has a band scoring. Like you will get bands in each of the section, like speaking, listening, writing, and reading. And the minimum band for admission in graduate programs is of 6, with no band less than 6 in any section. And for getting TA and RA, I would say 6.5 would be a good band. And the cost of these tests, both of these tests, are around 13.5 Indian rupees, I mean. So 13.5K, wo, uh, I think it's enough. Now I will talk about the documents that are required at the time of admission or at the time of university applications. So the first and foremost is the unofficial transcripts. It is basically what you can say. It's a document that describes all the courses you have taken in your undergraduate in a single sheet. And for like if you are in final year right now, for admissions in US, you need to submit at least 6 semesters mark sheet transcript of up to 6 semesters. And like for 4 year courses, I mean for 3 year courses, like you have completed 4 semesters right now till now, so you need to submit that mark transcript. I have written unofficial. That's why, because you need to upload soft copy right now. At the time of application, when you will get admission, when you are offered admission, you have to, not in every university, but some university ask for the official transcript that you need to send by official post from the university to that university. Next one is you need to prepare your standardized test score results. Like you need your GRE scores, you need your TOEFL scores and IELTS scores. And next is your letter of recommendations. So basically every university asks for letter of recommendation, except very few universities which do not ask any recommendation letters. And I won't say like any university will waive off your LOR request. So basically you need at least two LORs in USA. Maybe some universities ask for three. And one thing I would say for letter of recommendation, don't go for like you are going to chairman for your letter of recommendation. Don't do that. Only take recommendations from that who knows you very well, like who have the teacher who have taught you in your undergraduate program, or you have done research under his supervision or her supervision. Only take recommendation from that. You can also take recommendations from your professors from where you had done internships, like some students do internships in IITs. You can take LOR from there too. Uh, and next one is your statement of purpose. So I think I don't need to go much deep into this topic because there's a lot of data available on our group. You can see the document section in the group for in-depth knowledge of the statement of purpose. I will just tell you in brief, like it basically covers your why you want to pursue that program. Like if you are going for MS in computer science or MS in data science, you need to specify, you need to convince the admission committee why you are interested in this course, what are your career perspectives, what are your future goals. You need to write everything in your statement of purpose and your academic background, your research experience as well. And the next thing is WES evaluation. It is very rarely asked by some universities in Canada. Like I have heard that University of Regina asked and Western Ontario University asked for WES evaluation. It's basically nothing. It's like a governing body which take your input from the university, like from where you had done your undergraduate or graduation, whatever it is, and they convert your overall CGPA on that scale, on the scale of like what you can say the requirement by that university. Like for example, University of Regina, they will convert your academic credentials for that university, and they accept that WS evaluation. So I think these are the basic document requirement at the time of admissions. And the next thing is type of graduate. Yeah. So I will talk about the graduate degrees that are available in US and Canada. I have heard many students are confused, like what is Master of Science, what is Master of Engineering, what is thesis based, research based. Most of students are initially confused about these. So I will clear your doubt regarding this. So first of all, I will talk about Master of Science. So basically, it is most common is in USA. You have heard that everyone is doing MS in CS, MS in civil engineering, MS in data science, whatever it is. So basically, what it's a two-year master program in which you have to complete some coursework. Like I think MS is of 30 credits, so you need to complete some coursework of like 15 credits or maybe 18 credits, and you will do a final thesis. So basically, it's a research-based program, and the chance of scholarships or funding is possible only in research-based program in USA. So next one is MASC, that is Master of Applied Science. It's same as MS, that Master of Science, but in Canadian University they call it Master of Applied Science. It's same as MS, you have to do some coursework with the final thesis. Yeah, the point is this the in Canada, the coursework is of less credits. Like you have to only complete 12 credits for your master degree, and the remaining 18 credits for your thesis. And in same way, scholarships is only possible in research-based graduate degrees. And specifically, yes, one thing I need to mention that if you are applying in research-based degree in Canada, you need to find a potential supervisor who will supervise you for your entire master thesis. And if you don't do this, you will probably not get any admission or offer letter from any university funding courses or research-based courses. So you need to find supervisor, email them, convince them that you are good candidate for his lab or what is for his research group, and ask for his supervision. If he's agree to take you in, then you are good to go. You can apply, and if they provide, if they are willing to give you admit, surely they will provide you some kind of assistantship, be it research assistantship, graduate assistantship, or maybe some other funding as well. Now we'll talk about Master of Engineering. So it's both, it is common in everywhere. Like you will find engineering programs all over the globe, like in US, Canada, be it UK or anything, somewhere else also. In engineering, it's a basically non-thesis course or non-research based course. We need to complete some core courses, more like we have to study more courses than MS program. Like in MS, we have to study only 3 or 4 courses for entire 2-year course. In engineering, we need to study at least 8 courses and have to complete a final project as well. There is no chances of funding in engineering program. Yeah, there is one advantage over MSc that you can easily get admissions in engineering. Of course, it's self-funded. You can get admission. Like if you have 70% overall, you can easily get admission in medium moderate rank universities in Canada. Okay, so moving ahead, types types of funding in Canada. Yeah, in US and Canada both actually. So basically, these are various kind of funding, as you can see, RA, research assistantship, teaching assistantship, tuition waivers. So I will explain you in brief about every point. So first one is research assistantship. It is basically a stipend that you get in terms of weekly or bi-weekly or monthly stipend. And basically in that you need to work under your professor for to carry your research, and you will do basically you will do your research or maybe his some research project, and he will pay you for that. Like I'm doing my master degree, and in the same lab I'm getting RA. Next is teaching or graduate assistantship. It is basically you need you are assigned to help professors in their core courses, like in their theory courses, and the task we will assign as a master student. The task we usually get are like to grade the assignments or to hold the office hours or something like that, and there's a good amount of what you can say, the good amount of pay we get for being a teaching assistant. The third one is your tuition waivers. It is basically common USA. I haven't heard about much about tuition waivers in Canada. It's basically like if you apply to any university and your profile is good based on that academic year or based on that application year, and they will provide some tuition waiver, like some students get 10% tuition waiver, some get 50% tuition waiver, or some of them they may get 100% tuition waivers. It basically depend on the university, or they may also consider, like, if you are an international student, you may get an in-state tuition, like, if your profile is good, they may also consider you for like in-state tuition, so your tuition fees would be half as an like domestic student. So these are provided in US universities easily. Next one is university internal scholarships. So every university has their various kind of funding, or maybe you can say internal scholarship by the department or by the university or by some additional external programs. So you may get this kind of funding as well, like in what you can say, academic, based on your academic excellence, or bursaries or entrance scholarship. It basically varies university to university. I cannot mention like, this university provide this kind of internal scholarship. You need to check with your university like what they are offering, what are the scholarship programs they have. Every university has a scholarship page you need to visit. Like, for example, if you are planning to apply at Texas University or Texas Arlington University, you can just visit Texas Arlington scholarship page. You will get a list of many scholarships with values ranging from $100 to $500 to up to $1,000, $10,000, whatever may be. The last one is external scholarships. You all must have heard about, like, Vanier Canada scholarship, Fulbright scholarship, Rhodes scholarship in UK. These are external scholarships, and these are highly competitive. Like, for instance, in international scholarship, only students of that university compete with each other for that scholarship. But if you are talking about external scholarship, every candidate from all over the university in that particular region, like in Canada or in the US, compete for that external scholarship. So I would say it's very competitive, and there is less likely chance to get this kind of funding. So basically, we need to focus on top four: RA, TA, tuition waivers, and university internal scholarship. And if you get all of these, or maybe three out of four, you can easily cover up your expenses quite easily. Like, so moving ahead, yeah. So this one is the shortlisting process for universities. I must say it's the most complicated task. We don't have idea from where to start, which university is good, how to shortlist which one of them based on our course, which would be suitable for us. So I think this is the most crucial. So for that, I have pointed out few things that can help us in shortlisting the universities. The first one is, there are some websites that as like yocket.com or ymgrad.com. From that, you can compare your profile with other students like who got admits in previous years, and you can just compare your profile, write down their positive, or their, what you can say, their achievements, their experience, their scores, their GRE scores, their TOEFL scores, and compare it them with your profile, like in which you are lacking, or what's your advantage in your profile, like he has not that and you had done this thing. So you can just compare. I can show you how you can do this. Just a minute. Can you see my screen? Hello.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
we are getting your screen.
Okay. It's basically ymgrad.com. It's a website created by a student from Inderpress University, and he is in US, and I think USC, Southern California in USA. So in this website, you can see resources.
We are, Kazi bhai, we are not able to get your Google screen. We are just
Okay. Let me try. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see is ymgrad.com. It's a website. Okay, so I'm showing you how you can check previous admits or past profile that students have got admissions in various universities. So in this, there's a decision tab. In resources, there's a decision tab. Go to decision tab. So you can see the recent admits and rejects. For example, if you are targeting any university like, let's say, Windsor. Okay, so 29 decisions have already been in this page. So for example, you can check Akash Prasad. He got admission in University of Windsor in automotive engineering, and you can see his profile. Like his CGPA is 3.24, 28, his IELTS score, his research work experience, research paper, and he got no funding. So you can note it down basically. Like for example, for any university you are targeting, you can check like what how students are getting admit, on what profile they are getting admit basically. And you can say another student from that but same university, he's in industrial engineering, that Gokul Surat Saranjo, whatever it is. His CGPA is 7.6 out of 10. IELTS score is good. Without any work experience, he has two such papers, still got no funding. Basically, they are engineering students. You can check. Uh, Let me clear all filters. Now you can check the funding. US. What? Wait. Hey, like Parth Patel, Texas A&M University College Station, civil engineering. He got admitted in civil engineering. His profile was 9.27 out of 10, and his GRE was not so good, like 147 in verbal, 153 in quants. Not a good score actually. To be honest, it's a bad score in quants, 153, and his 3 in AWA. His writing 7, writing 8, speaking 8.5, listening okay, perfect. And he got funding of $22,000 lump sum. So basically, you can check past admits of any student and note it down and compare it with your profile. And next is I'm showing you another website, that is Yockit.com. In Yockit.com, there's a college finder. You can see in I'm not getting this the college. Okay, I have already opened it. Like you can just check your for master degree. So they will ask you very few questions: how much work experience you have, how many such papers do you have, research projects, SOPs. And there are some few more steps, I think. I'm not getting it. They will ask your undergrad CPA, your GRE score, your TOEFL score, and based on your profile, it will suggest you universities for your program, for your choice of program, basically. So you can just find universities. So it's this site is suggesting me some universities: University of Illinois at Chicago, Iowa State, Lehigh University, Ohio State, California, and then so I can just note these universities based on my profile. Like I can get admission in this university. Basically, these are suggestions by this Yockit.com website. So it's best for if you don't have any idea like which universities you can target, which will be safe for your profile. And the next thing is that some Facebook group, like you can see MS in US fall spring 2022 Yockit. This group is created by COVID. I mean Yockit.com. So in this you can easily find some student post their profile for evaluation. For example, someone Karan has posted his profile. Like his profile is Bachelor in Information Technology. His GRE score is 308, TOEFL 101, CGPA 7.1, work experience. So he has mentioned some universities like UNCC, UMBC, UTD Dallas, Arizona State, Northeastern, University of Illinois, Chicago. These are various universities, and he's asking for others though who have already got admit or who are already studying there for their review that he can get in those universities or not. So you can check the comment, like someone is saying try for Sunny Buffalo instead of UMBC. If you want to specialize in AI, then you can get basically good reviews or comments based on your overall profile. And to be honest, it worked very well. Like I have done this for more than 6 months for my profile, and I've got some very good responses from you students who already in studying that in those universities. So these websites are very helpful. So getting back to the presentation. Uh, so can you see this presentation screen again?
Yes.
Okay. So moving ahead. So since after you are done with this, like if you are have finalized few university like 5 or 10 university, then mark them as safe, moderate, or ambitious based on your profile. Like if you think this university is like very safe for my profile, then mark them as safe and shortlist them for your application process. And one more thing I would say, don't go for university ranking. Like uh, for example, there's a university called Santa Clara University. Its QS ranking is around 1125. Most of us would say, why would I go in the such low rank university? It's beyond AMU ranking. But one thing I would tell, its location is in what you can say, it's the heart of Silicon Valley. That's for it's like a dream for every CS student to be somewhere near Silicon Valley. So you just check the location. It's basically more important than the university ranking. Uh, so I think it's enough for shortlisting universities. Next one is intakes and deadlines. So basically every university has two intakes. That is the major intake is fall intake, and second, not major, I won't call it minor. Yeah, it's not as big as fall intake. Yeah, second one is, yeah, your winter intake, that is spring. So usually it starts in August or September. Fall starts in August and September, and the spring or winter intake starts in January every year. And for if you are aiming for fall, you need to prepare everything at least 6 months or 7 months before for that semester, before commencement of that semester basically. So in USA, there's always a priority deadline for fall semesters. Like if most of you guys must be in your final year and may be aiming for the fall semester next year, the fall 2022 or August 2022, you need to finalize everything before 15 December. That is the priority deadline in USA to get to get to remain eligible for the funding. You can apply after that. Of course, the deadline won't close after 15 December, but there's a priority deadline for to be considered for the fundings. It's usually 15 December for most of the universities. However, some universities may have it up to 15 January. You need to check with the university you are applying to. And similarly, in Canada, the fall application opens up early in October. Like today is first, 2nd October. The most of the applications are open now in for Canada, and it will open till the end of February or maybe March. Basically varies with universities. Uh, yeah, like if you are aiming for engineering program, like it's non-thesis based program, you can apply as soon as possible, because it's not like an entrance test. That admission committee waits for all the application. They don't do like that. If they have 20 seats or 30 seats, they start reviewing application when they have sufficient number of application forms submitted. So apply as early as possible to get early decision. Yeah, I forgot to mention about the winter deadlines. So for every year, winter deadlines are around in June. Like priority deadline for winter intake is in June. I think it's June 15th. I'm not very sure. It's June 15th or June 30th. You need to check it by yourself. But it's already 6 months before the commencement of that semester. So the next thing is the timeline for fall applicants. So most of you are in like final year. So if you are planning for next fall intake, the best timeline that you need to follow up for your admission is prepare for GRE at least and take the GRE test by the end of October anyhow. Because if you didn't score well in your first attempt, the based on the GRE policy, you cannot take the GRE test with again within 21 days. Like you have to wait 21 days before you can retake the test. So I think October is the best time to take the GRE. And if you are not aiming for GRE, if you are only taking the TOEFL or IELTS, take it in October. Or if you are giving GRE or taking GRE, then take off TOEFL or IELTS after taking the GRE test. And the next is SOP, LOR, or transcript. All get all of these ready by the end of November. I would say by the mid of November, and because you need enough time to shortlist the universities or fill out the application forms. So just do it everything by November and apply to those 4 or 5 university, whatever you are aiming, before 15 December in USA. And let's talk about fall application in Canada. Actually, it's all same. Like, you don't have to work specifically for Canada. If you are aiming for US, you can also aim for the Canada at the same time. Just the only difference is for thesis-based program, you need to find a supervisor before applying. In USA, you can apply directly through the admission portal, but in Canada, you cannot. Like, if you want, you can apply. They will take admission, they will take application fee, everything. Then eventually you will get rejection. So don't waste money without getting a supervisor. And I think everything is same. Next thing is initial investment during application process. So I think before application process start, you need at least 1 lakh rupees. Like, I will break down each and every expenses right now. So basically, the application fees of GRE is around 15K, and then you need either TOEFL or IELTS. Its application fees is around 14K, so 30K is already. Then application fees of the university, yes, for every university there is minimum application fees of 100 USD if you are applying in USA, or 100 CAD, Canadian dollars, in Canada. So basically, if you are applying for 4 or 5 university, it will cost you around at least 40,000. So it's 40 plus 15 and 14 is already 70,000. Then if you get admission, of course, it would be very good if you are getting admission offers. So visa fees for USA is 30,000, and it's 21,000 for Canada. And next, minor expenses that may occur, not required, like if university is asking for your original documents, like your transcript or anything else, you need to post it. So the posting charge is around 20 USD, or like 1500 rupees by Blue Dart. And if you are submitting your additional scores, like most of you must not be aware, like when you take the GRE test, after that completion of the test, you need to submit your score to your 4 universities, like your choice of universities, 4 choice of universities at that time when you have just completed the test at the test center. So like, if you are getting admission from any other university apart from that 4 university that you have selected at that time, so you need to send your official report to that university as well. For every additional reporting that you need to done, that it will cost you around 20 USD. Be it of GRE score reporting, I think GRE is 25 USD. I'm not very sure. And for TOEFL is 20 USD. I'm very pretty much sure, because I have sent my score to University of Windsor. Right? So basically, the total cost of application would around be 1 lakh rupees initially. So it's better to have this money beforehand. And yeah, one more suggestion I would say, what I can say, like, prepare a debit card which supports international payment. You can opt for I think Visa debit card of any private bank like Kotak Mahindra or Axis Bank or ICICI Bank, or you can also use your credit card, because GRE payment or TOEFL payment or admission payment they won't accept the normal RuPay card we have. So prepare it also. And the last things is the tips, I think. So these are some few tips, like, just don't run for the quantity, go for quality. Like, if you are doing research work or an internship, don't do this. Like, if you are publishing 2 or 3 papers, don't do this. Just publish 1 paper in an international journal or national journal, whatever it is. Just go for the quality and have patience. Oh, and next thing is explore as much as you can. Like, no one can spoon feed you. It's like no one can sail your boat unless you make your own efforts. You have to make your efforts. We are here to help you, of course, but everyone is busy in their own schedule. They cannot you help from they cannot help you from scratch. You need to do it yourself. Yeah, we can help you in minor things easily. Next thing is never underestimate yourself. Mm, uh, and ranking is not everything. Yes, this is the foremost point, that I usually say that don't go for ranking, go for the location, go for the university which offer the best program in that particular your choice of interest. For example, if you are targeting a like industrial engineering course or mechanical engineering course, like for example, let me talk about my university. It's Windsor. So it's located in the city of Windsor in Canada, and it's this city is called automotive capital. So for mechanical engineering student, it's very good. If you are getting admitted in University of Windsor, it's very good. Like we have two Ford companies, that Ford manufacturing plants here, so you can easily get job here. And next is make constant efforts and dua and help each others. So I think that's it. And now I'm ready to for questions. You can ask your queries here. Be- don't hesitate to put up your question, be it in Hindi, Urdu, English, whatever. The language is not the barrier here. The type of question doesn't matter here. You can ask anything and anything. So go ahead.
I
You
think
can,
we have one question in the
yeah, yeah.
comment chat section. You can see
Uh,
like it is important to have a 4-year bachelor degree for admission in Canada.
Actually, yes. Basically, most of the Canadian universities ask for a 4-year bachelor degree program. Like in that case, what we can do is like after completing a 3-year bachelor degree, just take admission in your masters wherever you are. Like if you are studying at Aligarh Muslim, take admission in your master program. And after completing your masters, you can after don't complete your master, just after 1 year of your master, apply to the Canadian universities. Or I will search some universities too, which offer 3 year, which accept 3 year undergraduate degree. Okay.
And one student is asking that he will get recorded lecture. Yeah, he will get recorded lecture
Yeah.
later.
This recorded lecture will be on YouTube after this session gets over.
And one more question from me. I want to ask, like,
Yeah.
what is the difference between ME and Master of Applied Sciences? What is the
Yeah.
difference?
Yeah. Basically, yeah, as I have told you, M engineering is a basically coursework program that you don't have to do a thesis in that. It's basically entirely based off your coursework, like your theory courses, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. However, like in University of Windsor, every M engineering student has to study 8 courses, like of 24 credits, and there's no thesis, there's no funding. You have to self fund your education in M engineering. Yeah, it's good for if you are aiming for the jobs. However, based on my knowledge, I'm not very sure, but you cannot apply for PhD degree after doing M engineering from Canada. I don't know it's same in US or not, but it's in most of the Canadian university they don't allow M engineering student to pursue PhD after that. For PhD you need a thesis based degree.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, would you like to give any suggestion to as the verbal section of GRE? I am facing lots of problem in that.
Verbal section of GRE.
Yeah.
I can say just first memorize the words that are in Magoosh. You must have that Magoosh
Yes,
GRE
yes.
verbal list. Just memorize these words and start practicing. Without memorizing word, you won't answer any question properly.
Yes, yes. For practicing 5 LV book is enough.
I would say yes. No. For verbal, refer ETS official GRE verbal guide.
Okay.
This good is perfect for verbal. For quant section, you can refer 5LB. That's great.
And yes, for AWS section.
For AW section, actually, I'm not very aware about AW. I didn't practice even.
Okay, fine.
So, okay. I can give you suggestion. In 5LB, there are few questions of
Yes, yes,
ALB and the back,
yes, yes, yes.
last of the book. So you can practice
Yeah,
on
I've
there.
seen. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anything
it
else?
might be helpful. No. And if
One more suggestion. Do you heard about gregmat.com? It's basically gregmat.com. There's a website
yes,
which
yes,
is
yes.
recently launched in 2019, I think.
Okay. Yeah. When you told me about that, which is better, Magoosh or GregMat?
Based on expenses, I think gregmat is so cheap. Like it's $5 per
Yes,
month.
yes.
and Magoosh
Yes,
is
yes,
$100, 101 or $150, I think.
yes, you're right.
Hmm.
But the Magoo's recorded video is different from the live classes.
Actually, I have not taken any live classes from GregMat. It was not available at that time when I was preparing. So I had Magoosh sessions, and I think I may not be able to answer it perfectly.
Okay,
Like,
thank you. Okay, thank you.
okay,
It might be helpful in my
Now,
preparation.
okay.
Jazakallahu khair.
Anyone, any questions? We have a good speaker. You can ask.
You can ask anything without any hesitation.
I
Please
have
go
one.
ahead. Yeah.
Without having a standard test score like GRE or TOEFL, I call the professor, or is it necessary to beforehand the test
So,
score
sorry, your
telling?
voice is not so clear. I cannot hear you. Please type your question if you can.
Actually,
And
I
one more
am
thing I want to.
saying standard test. Sorry.
Sorry, I cannot hear you properly. Please type your question if possible.
And yes, one more question I have related to IELTS.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this day I'm practicing IELTS listening, but I faced difficulties in part third, like their speaking speed is a bit faster than other sections, and most of the time I got correct up to 30 and sometime more than 30. How to increase the accuracy, especially in third section.
Okay, by the way, I took the TOEFL test. Okay, so
Okay.
actually in IELTS, I have heard about like most of the students are facing issues in listening part, like they use some addresses or I think some locations in
Especially
their
they
IELTS, and
give
it's
multiple
not,
choice questions.
yeah, in multiple choice, when
Okay.
it's not possible like to understand.
But in TOEFL is different from IELTS.
No, actually, basically, everything is same. Like TOEFL has already has these 4 sections. Everything is same, but they don't ask such type of question in TOEFL listening part. They give you academic lectures or the conversation between a student and a professor, or be it a what you can encounter between a professor or a, teen, something like this. So you need to just hardly hear the section and answer the questions accordingly.
Okay, thank you. Okay, fine.
There is a chat in chat box. There is a comment like someone want to ask something. You can ask. Don't hesitate.
Yeah, you can ask.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Am I
assalam.
audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sir, basically, like my name is Mohammed Zohib. So,
Okay.
I have done my master's in health administration and I have been working for the past 4 years. So, I've worked as an academic associate in IIM Ahmedabad and currently I'm working in a public health project.
Okay.
So, sir, I have recently appeared for my GRE and I've scored 316. So,
Okay,
I'm
that's
trying
great.
to apply. Thank you, sir. So, sir, I'm trying to shortlist a particular programs related to human resource management and organizational behavior. That's the area I'm looking forward to
Okay.
work in. So, but I am facing a major problem. Like the thing is, when I am trying to communicate with a lot of people like who are based over there, so I have secured my, I mean, GPA during my master's is 6.1. So it's like amounts to 61% as such. So I am a bit apprehensive about that thing. So I just
Okay.
needed your suggestion on that because the highest in my institute for that particular course went up till 7.3 and
Oh,
mine was 6.1.
okay. Basically, I can say that few things that can cover up your I won't say bad, like uh, uh, less CPI or less CGPA is your work experience and your GRE score, and you have both of them. Like your GRE score is good enough, and that can cover up your CPI, and your work
Okay.
experience can also cover up. So at that time, like if you have 4 or 5 years of experience, GPA doesn't matter at all. So you can easily
Okay, sir.
apply, and hopefully you will get admits.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
sir. So is it like particular person? I mean, you can suggest me who is working in this domain specifically related to management in human resources and
Right
OB.
now,
Like,
I don't know anyone,
no,
but you can
yes,
give
sir,
us time. I will
yes, sir.
surely look into it. Okay.
Yes, sir. I would then connect accordingly and
Okay,
proceed.
okay. You just ping me on Facebook. Okay, I will look a person for you.
Oh, okay, sir. I'll just have your email ID also. That
Email.
would be,
Okay, okay. It's Q. Note it down, please.
yes, sir.
It's QS Mateen. Mateen is my last name, as you can see from the webinar. And it's after Mateen, it's number 4@gmail.com.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone? Questions, please.
I think we have no more question. One thing I want to say that Rashid, our colleague, has posted a lot of links. So just subscribe those Facebook and YouTube channels so that you will get regular update. Kazi bhai, what you wanted to conclude in a short, just conclude it.
I think I've already concluded. You can now just thanks the.
Kazi bhai,
Yeah.
I have posted my question in chat box.
Okay. I can see, like, where can I access the chat box? I'm new here on Zoom meetings. Rashid, can you
Yes,
read his
Kazi bhai.
question for me?
Yes, without having test score GRE TOEFL, may I contact professor or is it good to have before mailing?
Okay, there's another question like, without having test score GRE TOEFL, may I contact professor? Is it good to have before mailing? Yes, I would say yes. You can start mailing your profile, your academics, your project, your internship, basically your short summary of your profile, and just say them that you have scheduled your GRE test or you schedule your TOEFL test. If they ask, of course they will ask. If they are interested in your profile, they will surely ask. But in the meantime, you can start mailing, and at the same time you can start preparing for these tests too. Someone is asking, what is the environment like at that University of Windsor? Okay, so it's already 15 days, like I'm here only for 15 days, and I think it's a peaceful city with so many international students. I don't think I can tell anything else about Windsor right now. If you are asking about like particular course or any particular branch, then I may be able to review that. Comparison between PhD and MS and opportunities after PhD. There's another question like Fahad is asking, what comparison between PhD and MS? PhD is eventually a full research based degree after your post graduation, and MS and PhD opportunities, like what he's asking, I'm not sure. Can you clarify your question, Fahad? You are asking opportunities after PhD.
I think they can, those who are still want to ask some question, they can mail Kazi bhai or they can ask directly in Facebook group. A lot of people there, they will help you.
I think there are 3 more questions left. Fahad, I will answer your question individually after in Facebook Messenger. Okay. IIPHB lab. Okay. You missed number 4. My email ID is qsmateen4@gmail.com. Please make sure you have noted it, the right email ID. And if the medium of instruction is English like in English, German, do we still, yes, in USA or Canada, you still need your language proficiency test. Medium instruction doesn't matter, except few universities like recently University of New Brunswick in Canada have waived off TOEFL, so you can apply in that university. After completing thesis-based masters, what are the job opportunities available in Canada except PhD? Okay, Asif Javed, I'm answering your question now. So basically, in a master thesis-based program, you are doing research that is being funded by the project partners. These project partners basically some companies which are paying you for to come up with the new ideas or to come up with the new research, and eventually they will hire you. Like most of the students get hired by those companies for that they are working to. Like recently one of our senior from our lab got hired by a company called C Modular. She was working on that same project in her master degree. So they hired her immediately after her graduation. So I think there won't be any issue of jobs after thesis-based master's degree in Canada. Yeah, Rashid. Yeah, that's my perfect email ID. Rashid has mentioned now. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. I think the question sessions, everyone has asked their questions. So we are just ending this meeting. And if you need to ask anything else, you can just post your queries on Facebook group. You can personally message any of us, like all the admins of this group. We will be happy to help you anytime. Okay.
Where we can personally message you
Uh,
at
you can message me on Facebook or you
okay.
can email me. You
Your
can
email ID is qsmateen
number
4
4. Yeah.
at gmail.com. qsmateen, okay, matin.
It is
MAT.
written in chat box,
Yeah.
please.
Rashid has.
Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. Allah Hafiz.
Rashid ji,